Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. So the Tanki X cinematic trailer. I'm actually 3 days late on this video, but it came out exactly 8 years and 3 days ago. How crazy is that? Now I forget when the exact date of the game coming out, but it was around this time. I think it was like around 2016 to 2017. When this trailer first came out, I seriously thought it was just like an update to normal Tanki Online until of course I was smart enough to actually see that was Tanki X. But I remember this trailer was one of the most hyped things I've ever seen. I remember back in 2016 when this trailer came out, it was one of the main reasons I started playing Tanki again. I mean, my very first video of Tanki Online was in the very end of October because of Halloween, because I started playing Tanki a bunch again and I just wanted to make a video. But look at this trailer, man. There was so much hype around it. And 8 years ago today, and 8 years ago the game came out, and unfortunately the game shut down just over 4 years ago now. The game was up for about 4 years until the player base lowered enough to where the game just shut down completely. Honestly, I truly think if Tanki wasn't doing as well as it was back in 2016, 2017, Tanki X could have thrived. Like if Tanki X came out today, I think a lot more people would probably play it than normal Tanki, because normal Tanki, it's a bit boring. But back in 2016, everyone really loved normal Tanki. So adding this whole Tanki X, a new kind of gameplay change or a new look to normal Tanki, people just didn't care because Tanki was so popular then that it was just like, who's gonna play this when they could be playing Tanki? Whereas if it came out today, it's like, okay, I'd rather be playing this than actual Tanki. Because one of the nice things about Tanki is that you get constant updates every single week or two, but if you play these rip-off games, you're not getting any new updates almost ever other than during holidays. And I'll definitely stand by it. If this game came out today, I think it would have done a lot better than it did back then. I think Tanki just didn't see the success that they wanted to see from it, and after 2 or 3 years of the game being out, they just weren't getting enough players to warrant spending thousands of dollars a month on servers, when, let's be honest, towards the end of Tanki X's days, they probably had a few hundred people playing. Whereas the player base for normal Tanki around the same time in 2020, I mean, the player base was definitely dipping around 2020, but you were still averaging 10, 20,000 players a day for normal Tanki Online, whereas in Tanki X at a time, you were probably only getting a few hundred players. It just sucks to see a game like Tanki X go down in only like 4 years. I mean, the game was, yeah, it had its flaws. It was basically Tanki Online 2.0, but I'd say definitely a lot more free to play, because Tanki in 2020 still had a lot of problems in terms of actual pay to win mechanics, where it's definitely gotten better now. But Tanki X, it was supposed to be an updated version without changing Tanki, because you can't change Tanki at the time, but they wanted to go for something new, so they ended up making Tanki X, and then it just ended up failing. And I believe they took the concepts from Tanki 2.0 into Tanki X, and now you see a lot of new skins coming to the game that are kind of mimicking the art style that Tanki X had. Tanki X had some of the coolest skins in the game. Unfortunately, the gameplay is super crap because no one was making videos on Tanki X because it was during basically Tanki's second time of being super popular, because the first time Tanki got really popular was like 2012 to 2014. Then around 2016 to 2019 was the second time frame in which Tanki got a lot of views. Imagine Tanki had like a third renaissance where the years 2025 to 2026 were super popular again. But I think Tanki X really took the boundaries of what Tanki had and went above and beyond. Like, this is a trailer for one of the new maps they had back in early to late 2017. So the game still was during its heyday. It was only about a year after it came out, and the game was doing pretty well for, I'd say, a year or two, and then it just randomly dipped in the player base. I think people just went back to Tanki around the 2019 heyday, where a bunch of people were getting hundreds of thousands of views on videos, myself included. But just look at this map, man. The atmosphere this map had is just uncanny, and Tanki's trying to do that a lot with the new HD maps, but I think it's just, you're not reaching it. And you also had rubies, which of course Tanki is bringing to the actual game now, which is pretty cool. They called them X crystals, but they're rubies, they're not X crystals. But man, look how cool this map was at the time. And I wish I started playing Tanki X back then, because I played for probably a few months when it first came out because of the hype. But then I went back to normal Tanki because you couldn't beat it in 2016. Normal Tanki in 2016 was just so much fun. And then I went back to the game about a month or two prior to the game, you know, going offline. And I just had so much fun during that last month of Tanki X being online. I ended up getting, I think, halfway to the max rank. I don't really remember. It was very hard to rank up. This was back in 2019, 2020, where Tanki was a little bit harder to rank up in, and they definitely had that mirrored in Tanki X. But man, the maps they had were so cool. The different mines they had, they're basically making a lot of the grenades in normal Tanki Online based off of the mines in Tanki X. Like you had a mine in Tanki X where it was literally just like a drone that would go on the floor, and if anyone went near it, it would chase after the player, and if the player was able to run away from it, it would just explode after a little bit. They also had a mine where you placed your mine and it would just have a shield in front of you. They're doing that with some of the grenades in the game now. But now it's been 8 years since the game officially came out and just over 4 since the game shut down. It's definitely sad, man. I hope Tanki does something with normal Tanki Online, whereas, you know, Tanki X, they gave up on it to focus more on normal Tanki Online because that's where they were getting their money from. And I'm hoping Tanki Online has like a revamp or whatever it needs to actually grow again. Because I think we can all agree, getting low amounts of players is discouraging. When you want to go against, you know, different people every game and you're getting the same annoying tryhards every game, it's just not as much fun. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely let me know if you guys miss Tanki X. Don't forget to use Taspens. I'll see you in a future video. Peace out.